a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Andhadhun. Andhadhun is a 2018 Indian Hindi-language black comedy thriller film directed by Sriram Raghavan. It stars Tabu, Ayushmann Khurrana, and Radhika Apte, and tells the story of a piano player who unwittingly becomes embroiled in the murder of a former film actor. It is inspired by the 2010 French short film Le Cordeau. The film was released theatrically on the 5th of October 2018 and received critical acclaim. Plot: a farmer hunts a pesky rabbit in a cabbage field beside a highway. The rabbit seems visually impaired, but manages to escape the farmer. As it hides behind a milestone on the highway, the farmer spots it and takes aim with his gun. Akash is a blind and talented pianist in search of inspiration. He spends his time fervently attempting to complete a musical piece which is an example of his finest art. The only people seemingly aware of his innocuous presence initially are a neighboring kid who keeps testing him in attempts to see if he is truly blind, and a pet cat named Rani. Akash is knocked over while crossing the road one day by Sophie, whose father owns a diner. Sophie is awed by Akash's talent and gets him a gig at the diner, where he is noticed by yesteryear actor Pramod Sinha. Pramod is seemingly married blissfully to Simi, and to commemorate their wedding anniversary, invites Akash over for a private concert to his apartment. Sophie drops him back to his flat, whereupon it is revealed that Akash can see, as he watches Sophie drive away. Sophie is oblivious to this, however, and the two develop a relationship. When Akash reaches Pramod Sinha's flat, Simi opens the door and is reluctant to let him in, but does so when she sees that her neighbor is watching the exchange. Simi is convinced Akash is blind and allows him to play the piano inside. Akash begins, but immediately notices a body nearby. He is forced to continue to play the piano as if he is unaware of this fact. However, given that he is blind, Akash excuses himself and goes to the bathroom, whereupon he sees Inspector Manohar hiding, but is forced to act as if he is unaware of him, since he is assumed to be blind. On his return to the piano, he manages to identify the body as that of Pramod Sinha. Simi and Manohar clean the body up silently and put it in a suitcase to be disposed of, while Akash resumes playing the piano, supposedly unaware. Afterwards, Akash attempts to report the murder, but is unable to, as Inspector Manohar would know Akash was aware the whole time. Simi manages to kill the neighbor who had also noticed Manohar's entry into the flat. Once again in the unwitting Akash's presence, who is forced to continue his charade of being unaware of either of the murders. Both Manohar and Simi continue to browbeat Akash, perpetually testing him to ascertain if he was really blind. Akash finally cracks when Simi manages to pour poison in his coffee in front of him, in an attempt to ascertain if he was really blind. Akash then insists that he doesn't want any problems, and just wants to leave for a concert in London. He then tells Simi that he faked the blindness as part of a social experiment in one of his pursuits for inspiration as an artist. However, he begins to choke, realizing that a powder Simi had given him earlier was poisoned. Retching, he collapses. Sophie comes by and sees that the neighboring child had recorded a video of Akash moving and seeing his way about like a normal person. Furious and heartbroken, she leaves him. Akash wakes up and realizes he cannot see, and fervently washes his eyes. He realizes he has been blinded and demands that Simi restore his sight. Simi tells him to focus on his art, and that no one would believe his story of her guilt on the two murders since he was a blind man, and leaves. After a discussion with Manohar, they decide that blinding Akash wouldn't be enough, as he could still reveal details, and Manohar comes back to finish the job. After a tense struggle, Akash escapes out to the road, faints and comes to in a shady clinic, which is revealed to be a front for illicit organ harvesting. The Dr. Swami and his assistants decide to spare Akash and help him in his quest for gaining money required to reverse his blinding. They kidnap and subdue Simi and blackmail Manohar into bringing 1 crore rupees to a specified location. At this point several twists come about, each motivated by the assistant's greed and exacerbated by Akash's blindness. The assistants trap Manohar in a lift. Meanwhile, they tie Akash up with Simi in order to claim the entire once run Akash. Out of desperation, removes Simi's blindfold. Akash, having freed himself, attempts to escape in his blind state, not getting anywhere, while Simi frees herself and attacks him. Dr. Swami enters and the two of them subdue Simi. Dr. Swami and Akash tie Simi in the trunk of a car and begin driving. Dr. Swami reveals his plans to harvest Simi's organs for 6 rupees and pay for a cast cornea transplant, but Akash is morally perturbed by the notion. The movie now changes to a location in Europe, 2 years later. A traveling Sophie meets Akash at one of his concerts in Europe, where he tells her the entire story. It seems the car stopped on the road and Simi came to in the trunk and started making noise. Dr. Swami dismisses Akash's scruples and goes to the trunk of the car where he is swiftly overpowered by Simi and Simi takes control of the car. She drops Akash off and drives off, but changes her mind and turns around, intending to run him over, when the same rabbit from the first scene smashes into her windshield, causing her to lose control and crash, and the car explodes, killing Simi with it. Sophie hears the entire story and commiserates. She says Akash should have harvested Simi's organs and gotten his sight back. Akash looks at her meaningfully and leaves with the help of his stick with a rabbit on it. Once out of sight, he uses the stick to smartly swat Akash out his path, leaving us in doubt whether he can see and whether the story he told Sophie is true or not. Critical response. Andhadhun received critical acclaim. Praise was directed to the intriguing screenplay, well-developed characters and performances, particularly those of Tabu, Khurrana, and Apte. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, Andhadhun has a 100% rating based on 9 reviews, with an average rating of 7.5. Writing for Hindustan Times, Raja Sen gave the film 5 stars out of 5, calling it a terrific game of blind man's bluff. Saibal Chatterjee of NDTV gave it 4 stars out of 5, saying, "Watch Andhadhun with your ears, eyes and minds open. You will come away with your senses heightened." Rajiv Masand of CNN News 18 gave it 4 stars out of 5. He noted the well-crafted script, which keeps one guessing, and utilized plot twists to good effect, and to the well-fleshed-out characters. He gave particular praise to Khurrana and Tabu, stating, "Ayushmann is in solid form, better than he's ever been." But, not surprisingly, the film's towering performance comes from Tabu. Her Simi is a woman of many faces, and the actress makes a meal of the part. The result is a deliciously twisted film that delivers more fun than any other Hindi movie this year. Box office. Andhadhun clashed with Love Ya Try, and had a great business in India on day one. It collected 2.70 crores on day one, leading to collect 5.10 crores on Saturday, and 7.20 crores on Sunday. Overall weekend collection is 15 crores, thus leading with excellent trend. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?